that we are going to see is the antenna pattern characteristics. So in the previous video, we saw how radiation was accomplished and we saw the various field regions of an antenna. In this video, we are going to see how the pattern of the radiation will be present once radiation has been caused. So we said that an antenna might radiate maximum in one direction or it might radiate in all directions depending on how it has been designed. So we speak about radiation, but we need to visualize how the radiation will be present. For such kind of visualizations, we are going to define radiation patterns. So radiation patterns are nothing but they are either mathematical functions or graphical representation of how the radiation of an antenna appears as a function of space coordinates. So we assumed the space around an antenna to be a sphere, which means we are going to consider the spherical coordinate system which has three coordinates rho, theta and phi. So we are going to draw the radiation pattern of an antenna as a function of the space coordinates theta and phi, where rho represents the radius of the antenna. The most common patterns that we draw for an antenna is the field pattern and the power pattern. The field pattern portrays a graphical representation of the electric field or magnetic field at a particular radius. And power pattern, we know power is, it is either the square, a magnitude of the electric field or the magnitude of the magnetic field. So the square of the magnitude of the electric field that is drawn here or square of the magnitude of the magnetic field that has been drawn here, and that gives us the power pattern. So by looking at the field pattern and the power pattern, we can predict in which direction there is maximum radiation, in which direction there is loss of energy, and at which point there is zero radiation. So drawing radiation patterns, it is a visual form using which we can say at which direction it is related to the directional property of an antenna. It is used to predict at which direction the antenna radiates to its maximum and at what other directions the antenna radiates to its minimum and what is the value of power at the given directions. And these graphs are going to be drawn as a function of space coordinate systems, that is theta and phi. Now this shows two patterns. One is the normalized field pattern and the normalized power pattern. So if you see in the two patterns, we can see that here there is a maximum point. If you see here, there is a lobe. We call this to be a lobe. So there is a maximum value in one direction at theta is equal to 0. And we can see various other small lobes are present at the sides. So this diagram can say that at this particular direction, the antenna radiates to the maximum, whereas the radiation minimizes in the other directions. There is still loss of energy in the other directions, but we can say that this is the region or this is the direction in which there is maximum radiation. And similarly, at the maximum radiation, we have the maximum power that is being radiated. And power is nothing but it is the square of the magnitude of the electric field or the square of the magnitude of your magnetic field. Now, before exploring this diagram and the parameters present here, we need to understand these shapes. What is all this and what are the other lobes that are present here? Now, let us see that. So, the radiation pattern lobes contains various lobes. The one which contains the maximum radiation, if you see, this contains the maximum radiation. This is called as the major lobe of the antenna. And the major lobe is where there will be maximum radiation and it will be directed in that particular direction, which means angle is 0. The next one is the back lobe. So this is called as the back lobe, which is totally 180-degree phase shifted to your main lobe. So the back lobe is where there is still a loss of energy, but exactly 180-degree opposite to your main lobe, the lobe that is present, we call that to be the back lobe. The minor lobe is, except this major radiation, the major lobe, any other lobes that are present in your antenna, we call it to be the minor lobe. And these are the reasons why energy gets wasted in the antenna, and the antenna should be designed in such a way that the minor lobes are reduced. They have to be minimized because they are a factor that causes power loss in your antenna. And the next lobe is the side lobe. So side lobe is a radiation lobe in any direction other than the intended lobe. So we can see here the lobe that is adjacent means next to. The lobe that is present adjacent to your main lobe, this is what we call to be the side lobe. And because of the side lobe also, there will be a power loss. So we should try to minimize the side lobe also. So I repeat once again, major lobe is one that contains maximum radiation, and this will be in theta equal to 0. There will be no angular shift. It is the direction of radiation as well as the direction where there is maximum radiation. Back lobe is one which is totally 180-degree opposite to your main lobe. Minor lobes, any other lobe except the major lobe, we call them to be minor lobe, and these are factors of power loss in the antenna, and we should try to minimize the minor lobes. And side lobe, the lobe that is adjacent to the major lobe, we call that to be the side lobe, and this is also one of a factor for power loss, and side lobe should also be reduced. So I hope you're clear with what is a radiation pattern. So using this diagram, I can say that my antenna radiates maximum in this direction and there is minimal radiation in other directions also. Next, in the diagram you can see two more terms. One is called as the first null beam width and the second one is the half power beam width. Half power beam width means from the peak point of the maximum radiation, we are going to move 3 dB along the antenna, or it is 50% less power than the maximum power. We can take it the either way. So when I move 3 dB from the peak point, we reach at 2 points. We reach at this point here and we reach at this point here. The angular separation between these 2 points are called as the half power beam width, and if you measure the power at these 2 points, it will be 50% of the maximum power, right? So the half power beam width from the peak point, I move 3 dB downwards, we reach two identical points. The angular separation between these two identical points is what we call to be the half power beam width, and at these 2 points we can observe when we do measurements that the power will be half of the maximum power the antenna radiates. So this is used to mainly determine the crossovers between two or more antennas. Like if there are two antennas that are designed which are operating at very short distances, this half power beam width is used to find the crossover regions between two nearly placed antennas. The next terminology that is present here is the first null beam width. So first null beam width means null means it is 0. Now start from your origin. This is I am saying with reference to the second diagram. When we start from the origin and we try to draw two tangents, one at this side of the major lobe and the other at the other side of the major lobe. So when we draw two tangents, it will cut the first 0 point. The first 0 point is here. So this is my first 0 point. Similarly here, this is your point where the antenna value becomes 0. So the angular separation between these two nulls or these two zeros is what we call to be the first null beam width. So half power beam width means they are two identical points on the opposite sides of the pattern. So at these 2 points, the power will be 50% of the maximum power, and the angular separation is what we call to be the half power beam width. And first null beam width means the angular separation between the 0 points, the point where the antenna beam reaches 0 at both the sides of the major lobe. That is what we call to be the first null beam width. The next one is the principal pattern. So principal pattern is not a totally different term. So we said already that we always imagine the antenna to be surrounded by a sphere. We concentrate on the spherical coordinate system because the earth itself is a sphere. And this antenna is again placed at one point on the earth, which means the radiations around or the region around has to be imagined to be a sphere. It follows a spherical coordinate system. So the graphical pattern on the surface of the sphere, or as we move outwards towards the sphere, we reach the far field region. So the actual radiation pattern that is present in the far field region, that radiation pattern is what we call to be the principal pattern of the antenna. Fine. So we are evaluating the electric field and magnetic field at a distance equal to radius of the sphere. So we already saw that R is equal to 2L square by lambda, and after 2L square by lambda we reach your far field region or the Fraunhofer region. So when we plot the radiation, when we draw the radiation pattern evaluating at a point at the distance equal to equal to the radius of the sphere, the radiation pattern that we obtain, this is what we call to be the principal pattern of the antenna. Next, we are going to see three main patterns in which radiations can be produced in antennas. The first one is isotropic pattern. So isotropic pattern means if the antenna produces radiations equally in all directions, then we call that to be an isotropic pattern. This is similar to a sun. The sun radiates energy in all directions throughout this earth. So the earth is an example of isotropic pattern. And isotropic pattern means there will be radiation. There will be a central point. So an antenna will be placed at the center. And from one central antenna or one central point, the radiation is going to be maximum in all the directions. But this is just a theoretical aspect. Practically, such kind of antennas cannot exist. But this isotropic pattern is used for analysis. Whatever antenna we design, you're going to design the antenna with reference to isotropic pattern because this is considered to be lossless in nature. So this isotropic antenna is going to act as a reference antenna since there will be no losses and there will be maximum radiation in all the directions. So any antenna that is designed, it will be designed with reference to this isotropic pattern. The second one is a directional pattern. Directional pattern means when the antenna is designed to give maximum radiation only in one direction, then we call it to be a directional antenna. So if you read the definition, it will have the property of radiating or receiving electromagnetic waves more effectively in some directions than in the other. So it will be focused, right? We are going to just concentrate on one direction, and in that one direction there will be maximum radiation. Then that is said to be a directional pattern, right? So your your dish antennas at the rooftop is an example of directional pattern. Only in one particular direction we will receive maximum signal strength. If the direction of the dish antenna changes, what happens? Your TV signal becomes weak. The pictures will not be clear. So such kind of antennas where the line of sight communication is possible, which means a straight. There will be a clear direction from the source to the receiver. Such kind of patterns or such kind of antennas that are designed, they are called to be directional antennas, and those kind of patterns are called as directional patterns. So in this, in one direction, there will be maximum radiation when compared to the remaining directions. The last type of an antenna is the omnidirectional pattern. An omnidirectional pattern, it is, we cannot say it is directional, we cannot say it is non-directional, but an omnidirectional pattern, in one direction there will be maximum radiation and the other direction there will not be any radiation. So if you see the definition, it is having an essentially non-directional pattern in a given plane and directional pattern in any other orthogonal plane. So this is with reference to plane, either in the xy plane or the yz plane or the zx plane. the radiation will be maximum, whereas in the other plane, the radiation will be 0. So omnidirectional antennas, they have maximum radiation in the horizontal plane. If you see this structure, we can see that this will have radiations in the horizontal plane. In the vertical plane, there will not be any radiations. So this is horizontal, this is vertical. So in horizontal plane, there will be maximum radiation. In vertical plane, there will be no radiation. This is what we mean by omnidirectional pattern. An example of omnidirectional pattern is a light bulb. The light bulb has radiation. If you switch on the light bulb, we can see that it has intensity. It glows only in the horizontal axis. It will not throw light in your vertical axis. So this is an example of omnidirectional pattern. And to summarize, isotropic pattern, it will radiate equally in all directions, which means the total spherical, the round shape will be totally covered. So the radiation will have a round or a ball shaped. Omnidirectional means it will radiate only in the horizontal plane. In vertical, there will not be any radiations. And in directional pattern, only in one direction there will be maximum radiation. So it is focused on one single direction, and in the other directions there will be minimal or zero radiations. This is what we mean by directional patterns. So hope you're clear with the radiation pattern of an antenna. So just we will have a quick summary. So we saw normalized field pattern and normalized power pattern. And one more thing that we would like to know here, we have the word normalized field pattern. It is not just field pattern, but it's given to be normalized. The term normalized means when we divide the field component by its maximum value, that is what we call to be a normalized field pattern. For example, this is a plot of your electric field. So which means the normalized field pattern will be the electric field. This is in a direction of theta, and the space coordinates are theta comma phi. When I divide this electric field by the same maximum value, we arrive at the normalized field pattern. This is just to get an optimal result, we perform normalization. Similarly, normalized power pattern means it is the power corresponding by the maximum value of power. And normalized power pattern is described with respect to a Poynting vector, which is represented as S. So it is S, which is a function of theta comma phi, which are the space coordinates, divided by the same value S of theta comma phi, the maximum value. And we use Poynting vector because the electromagnetic waves are described by the Poynting vector. And Poynting vector is nothing but it describes the energy of the electromagnetic wave per unit time per unit area at any given instant of time. So when we measure the power or the energy of an antenna of an electromagnetic wave, we use the Poynting vector, which is represented as S, because Poynting vector is the term that describes the energy of the electromagnetic wave per unit time per unit area. So it says how much of energy is transferred per unit area with respect to time. That is why we use Poynting vector here. Fine. Next we saw the various lobes that are present, which is the major lobe, back lobe, minor lobe and side lobes. Then we saw what was half power beamwidth and first null beamwidth. And we saw what is the principal pattern and three other patterns, which are isotropic pattern, example being the sun, directional pattern, example being your flashlight or the torchlight, which throws out light only in focusing only on one main direction, and omnidirectional pattern, the example being a light bulb which spreads out light only in one plane, for example the horizontal plane, and the other plane there will not be any radiations. Fine. So this is what we saw in this particular video. Hope it was clear to you. Thank you.